Based on current form and what we've seen in preseason, I'd play Trossard ahead of Martinelli.
Transit TV, welcome to Ready Football Show. Yeah, Arsenal ended their preseason today with a game against the Emirate Cup game against Monaco. It was a very intriguing one. It was keenly contested by both sides. Arteta once again tried to mess around with the lineups. I thought he was going to go with what I would say should be our Arsenal tentative starting lineup going into the new season. But again, he continued the mind games he's been playing, tweaking the lineup at every opportunity. It was I couldn't. The only interesting thing about the lineup today was the much anticipated party playing together, being the same lineup with Declan Rice. I personally have been expecting that. I've been looking forward to seeing both of them play together. But again, Arteta did what he does best. Took Odegaard and Kai Havertz out of this one, making the anticipation incomplete. Because if he had Odegaard, Partey, and Declan Rice in the same lineup, that's probably what most Arsenal fans expect to see regularly going into the season. Or Partey, Declan Rice, Kai Havertz. But unfortunately, to disappointment of many Arsenal fans like me, again, Arteta did what he's been doing all through the preseason, not giving Arsenal fans what they anticipate is going to be the strong 11 going to the season. I understand it. I believe he's trying to not make opposition managers in the league have an idea of what Arsenal is going to do going into the season. So this one saw Ramsdale in goal, Tomiyasu the right back, Saliba and Julian Timber in the middle. No, Saliba and Kivio in the middle, and Julian Timber played from the left side. And of course, Partey was a single pivot. Declan Rice was deployed in the Xhaka role on the left side of the midfield, while what's his name was on the left side, on the right side of the midfield. We also saw Saka sit out on this one. Nketiah spearheaded the attack, and Martinelli, of course, was on the left side of the wings. Yeah, the game, again, throughout the season, from my own observation, Arsenal has really been cut open so many times defensively. Monaco again did that in this game. A few times the defense was cut open and Monaco had their way. Arsenal was lucky to have not conceded more than one goal in this game, I must confess. And Monaco took the lead through a very beautiful goal after Arsenal failed to defend a corner kick properly and then went behind, just as it happened against Barcelona as well. They came from behind to win the game. Of course, Arsenal equalized through Nketiah, who again had what I would say a good performance, but not an excellent one. He had some very good moments during the game, especially when he took a pass on a half turn, and went past three Monaco defenders and ran into the box. Even though he could not convert the chance. Obviously, minutes after, he scored the equalizer, which was enough to get Arsenal a draw in this game. So it was a kind of a game with a mixed feeling. A lot of people don't take preseason games seriously, but I do, because especially in the last 3 to 4 seasons now. Before then, a lot of managers, especially the experienced manager, used to use that opportunity to give to check out players coming out through the ranks who probably are showing signs of being good enough to join the first team. They use those preseason games to try them out and see how they'll perform on the big stage. But in the past few seasons, especially with Arsenal, Arteta has come in and he has always tried to have a strong preseason, which shows indication of what to expect. So personally, I take preseason games seriously. I want to have an idea of what the team or the players are going to give us going into the season. So this one was a little bit hit and miss. It wasn't a top performance, but somehow Arsenal got the job done. And the highlight of the game was the appearance or the attendance of Arsene Wenger, the Arsenal legend, the coach who made Arsenal a global entity, a global brand, the coach who most Arsenal fans under his regime, most Arsenal fans of today became fans of the club because of the job Wenger did. In the brand of football he played with the team, the kind of players he developed with Arsenal, the investment, the building of the Emirate Stadium, all these are attributed to Arsene Wenger, who came into the club just as how Arteta did. He was a barely known coach, but came into Arsenal, did a very tremendous job, and got himself a legendary status in the club. It's also understood that today the statue that was erected in Emirate Stadium, after the Emirate Stadium in his honor, was being unveiled today. The famous lifting of the gold Invincible Cup, the EPL trophy that he won 2004 season with the Gunners. So he was in attendance today, and I was very glad and happy to see him in attendance. And of course, the boys did him proud by lifting the Emirate Cup. Then another point I want to look at is Rice being deployed in the Xhaka role. This was his first appearance formally for Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium. He had a steady performance which started with a very conservative approach to his game. He tried to keep things simple. For me, I observed he made a lot of defensive passes, trying to complete his passes and not commit errors. But as the game went on, he developed into the game and played more passes forward. And this showed from his late arrival into the box, pouncing onto a loose ball that made him, he almost had a debut goal today. It was a very, very sweet and nice view to see, because that shows what Rice is going to bring into the team going forward. I think he had a very steady performance. I think Declan Rice will develop into what Arsenal fans and many admirers of his game expecting to be in Arsenal from what I have seen today and a few minutes that he got in the match before. So that was another big highlight to the game. Declan Rice's debut appearance at the Emirates Stadium. Then another, of course, we have another new signing who made his debut at the Emirates Stadium today, starting from the beginning of the game during Timber, who had what I would say, one of the best performances in the team today. He was steady defensively, and he seems to have understood how Arsenal, Arteta wants his fullbacks to play inverted when was needed, because Xhaka was playing as a single pivot. So most of the time, Timber needed to, because Monaco was playing 5 midfielders. So sometimes he looked to be overcrowded in the midfield, and he stepped in to support Partey in that middle. So he showed a very good understanding of how Arsenal play, how Arteta wants his fullbacks to play, and also showed very good intelligence and composure going forward. We saw him break out with a lovely pass from Partey on the right side in the first half, though Arsenal failed to convert from that opportunity. So I think Jordan Timber is going to be a very immense signing for us now, both defensively and going forward. Though there's still a massive improvement to be made between him and Declan Rice, but I see that they are going to prove to be good signings for the club. One other point I need to look, I have to point out is the way Arsenal is playing. It's very obvious that Arteta has developed a structure, developed a way of play for the team. But what he has done, what looks like he's going to be doing going to the next season, is to develop different flavors within the same structure by using different attributes from different players to generate play in different way, especially going forward. Julian Timber playing from the right or left inverts. Last season we know that Arsenal played inverted fullbacks only when Zinchenko is on the pitch, but Arteta has gone to develop more players to go into that role, even though they might not do it as perfectly as Zinchenko does it. But I've seen Nketiah come into that role. Timber has come into that role as well. So this is going to make it a little bit more unpredictable, which is one of the things Arsenal did not do very well last season. So I think Arteta is developing the team, the squad, to having variety of ways to play within the same structure. And this is going to be very, very interesting. But the going to that is going to take a little bit of time for the other players to master this, and it could prove to be costly for Arsenal going into the season. The only confidence they're going to have on this is if the usual suspects are available at the beginning of the season, they have their understanding already and can still go full throttle with the pattern. But I can see Arteta is developing a squad that's going to not be dependent on one player. This is going to take a little bit of time to achieve, but if they presently, from what I've seen throughout the preseason games, Arteta and his boys are moving the right direction, and I think it should be a worry for opposing teams, opposing coaches, and fans. So far, this new signings for Arsenal none of them has really given a wow performance in any of the preseason games, but there is a very strong indication that Arsenal has not made any mistakes in the signings. Surprisingly, among the three of them, Kai Havertz, Declan Rice, and Jordan Timber, Kai Havertz seems to be the most settled among them. He seems to have understood better the role he's going to play for the team. Of course, we know he took a very fantastic penalty today during the shootout, and Scott got his goal, making it 3 goals for him now for the club during the preseason. And we know that the highest he has got for Chelsea, while he was in Chelsea, was I think 10 goals or 11 goals in a season. So it looks like Arteta is going to unlock a different side of Kai Havertz in Arsenal, and this is the dream, this is the hope of Arsenal fans. We all knew that there is a player in there. We all know that he has the quality, he has the talent, but nobody was sure what Arteta was going to do or what Kai Havertz we are going to get in Arsenal. But from early indications so far, it looks like Arteta has got his man. Arteta knows exactly what to do with Kai Havertz, and he's playing with different type of confidence and understanding with his teammates. It looks like we're going to get the Leverkusen Kai Havertz in Arsenal, and if that comes to happen, this makes us the team even more dangerous. So these are my little thoughts about the game so far, and now I'm going to be joined by my fellow Musketeers, Richard and Ugum, to probably look more into the game. So stay tuned while we welcome Richard. Yeah, Richard, welcome to the show. We just finished watching Arsenal in the Emirate Cup at the Emirate Stadium play Monaco this evening. The game, well, for me, continued what we've been seeing throughout the preseason. I'm messing around with the starting 11. I don't really know exactly what. Well, we'll go into that as we go into the show. Guys, before we go on, we want to remind you to go ahead and subscribe if you have not. We are pleading with you to help us get these subscription numbers up. Our target is to get the 2,000 subscribers before the season starts. And the season starts in 2 weeks. So like and share this video. And, don't forget to get this in the comment section and let us know if you have divergent opinion on what we discussed today. I'm in the house with Richard to look at this game and try to make sense of some of the things that happened with regards to the game. Richard, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Good evening, viewers. Welcome. So so Reggie, like you said now, the match, we were sort of the coach. It was like he's still experimenting. I mean, he changed everything but the goalkeeper, really, from the last match. Defensively, I smiled when I saw that Gabriel didn't start. It's almost like he heard what we were saying on the last episode.
Yeah.
I also feel that it was you could tell everybody when we're not where we're supposed to be. But I mean, when you think about it, I mean, how can you be when you've bought 3 new players, two of whom started this match? Timber was impressive. Rice, he did some good things, but you can tell. I mean, he's still feeling his way, rather, and I know he will get better and he'll be successful buy for us. I think that also. I think if you notice during that match, it's almost like Arteta was playing. He started with one system and then switched to another system as regards at least holding midfield was concerned, because he started with Partey and Rice, took them both off in the second half, and brought on Jorginho, Odegaard, and Havertz.
Havertz, yeah.
Yes. So I'm wondering, is it that he hasn't decided how he's going to operate in midfield, or is he trying to sort of rotate systems or change systems depending on who the opposition is? I don't know what you feel.
Yeah, for me, when the lineup came out, two things struck me. The first was Partey and Rice playing together at the same level, which is the most anticipated combination Arsenal fans have been crying for. We all feel that Declan Rice was bought to replace Xhaka in the left side 8th row. So when I saw Partey Rice in the same team, I was glad to see that. I wanted to see how that's going to work. Like you rightly said, Declan Rice is still feeling his way. Obviously, he had a little setback. He didn't play in the Barcelona game. Probably that would have helped him to settle a little bit better by today. So I was glad to see that Arteta is thinking in that direction. Everybody that knows football is thinking that should be the Partey, Declan Rice, Odegaard should be the best midfield for Arsenal going to the season. So to see both of them start together gave me something to be delightful about. Of course, I took note of the fact that De Bruyne was not starting a game for Arsenal in a very, very long time. I also noticed that Jesus was not there, though we now know why he was not there. Nketiah was giving a start, and the captain Ansban as well. So I was eager to see what he was going to do. And to be fair to him, he had a pretty fair game, got his goal, did some good things, though I don't know if he's going to ever have any Arsenal fan have 100% confidence in him. I don't know if that's going to ever happen. Then another thing I felt was it looks like Arteta doesn't really want to give out too much to to everybody what he's going to do going to the season. It looks like he intentionally trying to play around with the system, with the formation. Then lastly, based on what you just mentioned about taking out Partey Rice and bringing in Kai Havertz, Jorginho, and Odegaard, the only thing that comes to my mind is, okay, the first one, barring Odegaard, probably will be what the midfield will go with when we play with bigger and more serious teams. So it looks like the second half looks like what he's going to do if we're in a desperate situation to find a goal. It's a more attacking midfield combination. So probably he tries to check out, okay, if we're desperate and we really need a goal, this is the way to go. Odegaard, Havertz, Jorginho, these are more forward-looking midfielders. That's what I'm thinking in my head, depending on what is going on in the game. So I think what he's trying to do is different stages of different games and parts of the team. He tries to try something. He's not doing the full team at a time in one game. Apparently, they'll be doing the serious full training outside cameras. But in these games, he's trying to hide something from. This is what I'm thinking. I don't know. He's trying to hide something from the general public. So that's the way I look at it. Then another thing that I don't know what you thought about giving Smith Rowe a starting spot in the number 10 role, and what you made about his performance in this game.
He said that he's looking at him as an Arsenal player, that he's in his plan. So it was an opportunity to look at him. I mean, he hasn't really looked at him when you consider that he was away much later than most of the squad. He had a much shorter preseason than most of the squad. So, and going back to what you said about the formation the coach will choose for stronger teams, I can't imagine that he will sort of experiment that way in the Community Shield simply because it's Manchester City. I expect that he will start what he believes is, if not the strongest 11, very, very close to his strongest 11.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that probably this was, his last chance to look at Smith Rowe from the first minutes of a game, as it were. And he didn't do badly. Mm-hmm. I don't think he did badly. And I think it would take him a while to get to the levels he was at before his injury. Because, I think I've said in earlier episodes that really, there was a time that he and Saka were basically on the same level. They were looked at as, the two potential stars of this team.
And he got his England call-up, the senior team call-up that time you were talking about.
He did now, around the same time as... well, maybe a little after Saka, but not long after. Mm-hmm. I think it was the same season. Mm-hmm. I think it was the same season that Saka won his first cap, that Smith Rowe won his.
Yes.
But injury, and I don't know. I also feel that, there was a time that he and Odegaard were actually sort of being alternated. Then Arteta is like, he made a decision and Odegaard was starting. Mm-hmm. Then soon after that, I think he was he injured immediately after that?
Yeah, anyway, he had some short-term injury that then eventually he now had, according to Arteta, he was always, the Arteta said, well, they had to make that decision, let's deal with this thing for long term, which now kept him out. But he was going in and out of the squad because of that injury.
So he did reasonably well, and like I said, I believe he's somebody that he's going to be somebody that we can hopefully he's going to be somebody that we can rely on, and that has been sort of groomed from within the squad. I think we had this discussion on another episode about how we're looking at, it's not necessarily always necessary to bring players from outside. I mean, it's a good idea to sort of try and develop what you have. because these are players that possibly they could go elsewhere and really do very well for the clubs that they end up.
Or if they were elsewhere, fans will be clamoring for the club to sign them.
Exactly. You know.
Yeah,
So,
for me, I think I totally agree with you on Smith Rowe. I feel he had a good game. He's a player that I like so much because among all our midfielders, I think he's the most with the eye for a goal. He knows when to arrive in the box and he can take his chances. I don't know his stats, but I'm sure his conversion rate is above 90s because he really misses chances. So he's a player that would love us to get to his best level. I'm considering what I said earlier on. I think he will always do well in the combination of Partey and Rice because these guys will work more for him. He thrives in situations where he can use pocket spaces around the attacking third. So I think Arteta should do everything possible to get him back to his best. But I hope he has the right mentality though, because that's very, very important. You know, any coach or manager can do whatever they want, can push you as much as they want to push you. If you don't have the right mentality, it's always going to fail. So I think he had a good game, and I'm looking forward to him having a good season as well. And if he does, it will be very, very, very profitable for the team and the club as a whole. And you know, there's one thing as fans that we always focus our mind on is the team winning and the team, winning trophies. But as an entity, we also need these assets to be adding value, because if it comes to the point where you have to, because sometimes it gets to a point where they have to leave, you make good money from them, which helps the club to stay liquid and also be able to afford replacement for these players. So you don't want to, players that that have talent, you need to give them chance to flourish so that if it comes to the point where they have to go, then nobody loses. It will be a win-win for both the team and the player. So guys, let us know what you think about the lineup. When you saw the lineup, what was your first impression about the lineup? And as like we have discussed about ESR Smith Rowe, what do you think about his performance, and what do you think Arteta is thinking about him, and what role do you think he should play in the team? Should he be a starter or be used friendly? Though going to this season, we're going to have a lot of games that require us to be at our best. So I don't even think that should be anything like first or second 11. Everybody should be up at their par, because Champions League is going to be Wednesdays. Then you have big games weekend. So there's not really going to be any time for experiment for anybody to say, okay, this is a second fiddle to this person in this position. We really need everybody to
Although I think you'll find that he will play weakened sides. When I say weakened sides, I mean the sides that he feels will be not as strong, maybe in the Carabao Cup. Then if we get further along, the practice has been that when we are playing lower division sides in the Carabao Cup, they will play so-called weakened team. Then when maybe if they're drawn against a strong Premier League rival, for example, they will now, the team he feels will be a bit stronger.
Yeah,
but I'd like for us to actually go, to have a run in that competition. Arsenal don't have a very good record in that competition.
I think throughout Wenger, I'm not sure we won it, and I think Arteta we. Yeah, I think
he didn't win it.
Arteta
he made 2 finals. Wenger made 2 finals and lost them both.
Yeah, and I think based on what Arteta is doing, the squad we have right now, I don't even think it's just the combination that matters. I don't think out of the 22 or 23 players we're going to register, I'm sure we're going to have like a team that will almost have the same right to start any game. And which for me should not be, it's not a matter of who plays with who better. That will determine what happens. Like what you said, sometimes you might have a stronger Premier League game on Saturday, and the Champions League on Wednesday is even weaker. Maybe you're playing a team from Bulgaria on Wednesday, and you have United or City over the weekend. So you'll be tempted to play a little bit weaker team for the Champions League because of who you're playing against and get ready. So it depends. And I looked at our fixtures. by our first 11 or 12 games, we would have played United, City, and Spurs, even including Chelsea.
Yes.
So yeah, the team needs to get ready and be up for it as quickly as possible.
From the beginning of the season.
Yeah, then let me ask you, what have you made about our defending throughout the preseason games we have played?
It's been a carryover from last season. The concession of sloppy goals. Although I don't even think that, if the truth be told, I don't think the defense is entirely to blame. I believe that it starts from midfield. We had this discussion in the last episode. A lot of the even in this friendly, there are a couple of occasions where our midfield was alarmingly easy to to get through. I was like, what's going on? Then also there are a couple of Partey had a very good game today. He had a really good game, but he was guilty on a couple of occasions of slack passes. Fabio Vieira too, although most of his own slack passes I noticed were in the attacking third, but he too was casual. So to answer your question, the defending, it wasn't it wasn't something. The performance defensively wasn't enough to fill you with like confidence. But Saliba played well. even there are a couple of occasions where he was attacking. It was
that's something very long run to the bypass.
I was thinking like, this is somebody I can play a DM, because he likes the ball at his feet. You can tell. He's not one of those defenders that he's not like, as soon as he gets the ball, his first
is to balloon the ball. And the good thing about him is he can do that, and he picks his moments. He doesn't he's not careless with it. He doesn't do it all the time. He knows when there is space to do that and when to go easy. Yeah,
the other thing I
agree with you on that defending, because and really for me, actually, that problem starts from the front. Arsenal has not pressed in harmony the way Arteta team, most of the last season, the way we pressed, and that has given the opponents chance to play through us. And once that happens, a lot of teams now play out from the back, and once the team is playing out of the back and you don't press them well, they most likely are going to get to your back. And most of the time when that happens, it leaves a lot of gap in front of your defense. And like you rightly pointed out there, one of the reasons is because of Fabio Vieira. I was going to get to him. He had a fairly good game, but defensively, he looks sometimes as if he's not interested. He just wants the ball to his feet. But in this at this level, you have to put all aspects of the game into play. So
both aspects, both in possession and out of possession.
Yeah. So that's
yes. You can't come and claim I'm a creative midfielder, therefore I'm not going to do my work. I mean, nobody.
Exactly. So I think that's what the cause of this defense. Because if you watch, most of the goals that we conceded are balls that come from almost from the other end of the pitch. All of a sudden, our defense is open. I know a lot of people will not agree with me on this. I know you say Saliba had a good game, but I've watched him closely. It looks like he's somehow short from the Saliba that we know last season. So apparently he has not fully gotten back to his physical self, because his closing down is a little late all through this season. I've seen that this season that sometimes he closes players down a little slower than he used to, because before last season, before you know it, he's already in your face, but this season is 1 or 2 steps late. So apparently he will get to that level. Again, Ramsey didn't do anything. I don't think he did anything wrong today, but somehow, I don't know, there's something about Ramsey that I don't find comfortable. He doesn't really look himself, kind of. today, the first pass of the ball, his first release was long ball. I'm wondering what's going on with this guy. This is not Ramsey that I know. So it looks like the hangover of the mistakes that he made toward the end of the season, passing out from back, is still in his mind. He needs to get out of it because those long balls is one of the reasons why we are being attacked. Because that's not the way we played last season. We build from back and he gives you small possession. And so all those long balls, most of the time, he didn't get them right. And that throws the team into chaos. One of the things I noticed about that defending is people complain about Zinchenko. He's not a good defender. But anytime that guy plays, Arsenal is really under pressure defensively. So I also feel that throughout the preseason, we have missed Zinchenko because he gives us more control of the ball. We control the games better. So it looks like his absence is also another thing to worry, which is the reason why Arteta is doing everything possible to try to invert without him. We had during Timber in that role, joint party most of the time in the game. So these are the things I feel that we are responsible for us now having this shaky defensive display throughout the preseason, which I know is not going to be a big worry. They will figure it out, and I'm sure they are working on it in training. So guys, you've seen what we talked about Arsenal defense this preseason. Let's know what you feel about, what you think about, that side of the game for us now all through the preseason. It looks like we have been conceding almost aside the MLS All-Stars. Every other game that we played this preseason, I think we considered a goal at least. So I don't know what you guys think about that situation right there. Then of course we cannot talk about Arsenal this whole summer and not mention Kai Havertz. It's been a regular occurrence in every conversation that had to do with Arsenal and the transfer window this summer. For me, I don't know. What do you think about Havertz? Having watched him from the first game to do you notice any progress? What's your impression? When he was signed, everybody was saying that we don't know what Arteta is thinking. Everybody felt that, okay, there's a player in there, but it didn't look like a player that was going to come and make any impact in us now. Has your opinion changed? Having seen him play a few games, or you still in that limbo?
No, it hasn't changed. I mean, he's come in. I mean, to use an English expression, it's not like he's torn up any trees. He hasn't come in and everybody's like, wow, it hasn't happened. He hasn't even had the impression that somebody like Trossard had when he came. Remember when Trossard joined? I mean, his impression was immediate, So I don't know. I know he can play. I just hope that Arteta and this happiness with the role that he's being given, because I mean, apparently, well, we don't have, or we're not privy to the discussion he's having with people and everything. But at least the rumor going around was that he was unhappy with the position he was played at Chelsea. Yes, that he doesn't like being an out-and-out striker. Yeah, so it's obvious that, well, I don't know about obvious, maybe that's putting it a bit too strongly, but it appears that that is not Arteta's plan for him. He's not going to play him. He's not going to use him as an alternative to Jesus. He's going to play. It's quite clear he's going to play in midfield. However, that eventually turns out. But so far, I mean, he hasn't done anything embarrassing or calamitous, but he really hasn't. Like I said, he hasn't come in, and everybody, Arsenal fans are like, "Wow, this is going to work." It's quite obvious it's going to work, but well, it's early days. We've bought players in the past that haven't immediately made an impact, and after all, remember Dennis Bergkamp.
Yeah, even Pires.
Same thing, yes.
Even Thierry Henry, I think he played 11 games before he got his first goal.
Yeah. So it's It's early days.
Yeah, for
Ugum
me,
is here.
yeah, same. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Hi,
for me,
Richard.
Richard,
Hi.
for me, Kai Havertz, I've seen progress. Like you said, he hasn't done anything that is a wow performance for Arsenal. But from the first day he played for Arsenal to the game he played today, I've seen progress. I've seen a player who has settled. Each time he plays for Arsenal, he looks a little bit more settled. He looks a little bit more sure and comfortable about his role. And one of the things that people were talking about was all through his career in Chelsea, how many goals did he score? His best season was, I think, 10 or 11 goals. But in 3 games or 4 games, he has scored 2 or 3 goals for Arsenal. He scored his penalty today as well. So if we're going to judge him based on his stats and numbers, and he carries on with the team the way he has done through the preseason, he might end the season with 15, 20 goals. I don't think anybody will turn around and say that's a bad return on that investment. So I'm like you say you don't feel your opinion has not changed. I'm kind of a little bit pushing towards accepting the fact that he was going to be a good signing, and Arteta has a clear knowledge or idea of what he wants to do with him. I was telling Ubun the other day, I think I was in the last episode, if you were here, that I noticed there's going to be a connection between Kai Havertz and Saka. Because you have a Jesus who is not big. I think Arteta is going to work with Kai Havertz arriving on the second post late in the box to connect with Saka's crosses, because in the past, Arsenal have been guilty of wasting those, cut back, Saka cuts back and try to find somebody in the second post. Nobody arrives there, except sometimes Xhaka used to once in a while when he was here. So it looks like there's a clear role for him in the team. Another problem is he's going to have, if you ask me, is the same problem that Ozil had. His expression, his body language doesn't show aggression. So people tend to rate his performance based on his body language. And that's just who he is. I don't see him being any different. So Arsenal fans might have to get used to the fact that that's the way he plays and that's the way he is. He's somebody that doesn't show much emotion. Why? It's just like Ben White. It took time because he played consistently. It took time before Arsenal fans, drew to him, because Ben White just get to the pitch, gets the job done, and walk away. It was after he played so many games that Arsenal fans started looking at him as, he was a good buy, just because of the same gesture, the same way that he looks. I don't know what you think. We're looking at, we talked about the lineup, the preseason defending. Right now, we're talking about Kai Havertz. I was asking Richard what his impression has been about Kai Havertz so far, having seen him play for Arsenal in 3-4 games. I don't know what you think about that.
It's interesting. I made a note. And
You're breaking.
Yeah, on pause. Yeah, on mute.
Is he on mute? I think he's breaking.
He's trying to achieve.
I think somebody is calling you. Maybe that's why he's putting you on mute. It's still on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I can hear you now.
My apologies. All right. So I think I saw what the manager was trying to achieve. For the first time, I saw Havertz showing up for the ball all the time. There's a difference between somebody that's born as a midfielder and someone that's learning how to play in the midfield. One of the qualities of a midfielder is always to find an opening and show for a pass, right? You show for a pass and you move the ball along. Keep it simple, move the ball along, but most importantly is show for a pass.
Yeah, a midfielder that doesn't show for a pass option, yes.
Yes, a midfielder that doesn't show for a pass is useless, really, as a midfielder. So what I started thinking was, okay, Havertz, I think, is wired to be an offensive player already. It comes naturally to him to get into the 18-yard box, Shooting is something he knows how to do very well from any angle, right? It's something that's natural to him. Being offensive, either shooting or crossing or scoring goals. He hasn't scored a whole number of goals, but if you would check how many times he gets into goal scoring positions, you'll be stunned. The guy gets into goal scoring positions a whole lot, even while he was at Chelsea. The only thing was that he missed a lot of them.
Yes.
But he always found himself in a goal scoring position. So now, when you have that, you have that. It's natural. Now, a good coach will now teach you the things you don't have so that you add those things to the thing that comes naturally to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I'm seeing a player that is going to be a slow grind, it's going to be a slow cooking. But once this player gets it right, learns what he's supposed to do, where he's supposed to be on the field, he will now leverage what he already has inborn, right? And it will bring out the best. So what the thing that I found encouraging today about Havertz is I saw him several times showing for the ball. Whenever Tierney had the ball, you see Havertz approaching him right away. He will get the ball a few times, move it on to Trossard, or give it back to Tierney. He was showing there was an incident happening towards Jorginho, had the ball on towards the right. Havertz showed there. He was showing everywhere. So that encouraged me. He's already learning what's needed for him in the Arsenal team. When we bought Havertz, I was the opinion that he was going to contest with Bukayo Saka on the right field, the right wing, right? But I can see that that's not what
you said it.
Arteta wants. Yes, Arteta wants to use him in the midfield because of his engine. Because in fact, I saw two balls that were knocked over to Havertz to head. Right? So it's going to be another option when they choke the midfield. We have someone that we can get the ball to, and the person can use his head and knock on for our wingers to chase. Right. So I think it's going to be a slow burn. I don't think he's going to get it right. It's just for Arsenal fans to calm down and allow the guy grow and develop into that position. Chelsea fans are going to mock and all that, make fun and all that. It's a normal thing. That's banter in football. But fortunately, he's gotten the ghost of not scoring out of the way. He's already scored in preseason. Mm-hmm. And so, we'll let him settle into the team. The same thing with Declan Rice. Declan Rice could have scored a goal.
Yeah, I was going to tell you to just, while you're speaking, just go ahead and finish the other two new signings, what you have made out of both Timber and Rice. So go ahead.
Yeah. So Rice was made a brilliant burst into the box. Exactly what we expect to see more of from him. Dribbled someone, almost scored, but last ditch, very good defending by Monaco prevented him from scoring. And so he was there. He didn't impose himself on the game, but you can see signs of someone that's slowly learning what he's supposed to do. What I like about Rice is that he's been very vocal. He's been saying, listen, I'm here to learn. I'm learning. It's not going to be, automatic. I'm learning to play a new way, and fans just have to calm down and just let these guys be up to speed. We've bought three very intelligent players. There's something with Timber. Timber, you can see, has already, in a few games, played multiple positions and played all of them well. Yeah, he wasn't like fish out of water in any of those positions. He's played fullback, inverted fullback from the right. He's played left back today, not inverted, more of positional and defensive left back. He didn't drift a lot into the midfield today.
I don't know if you noticed when he also switched with Tomiyasu left and right. He went to the right back in the flash and almost had an assist, with a run from the pass from Partey.
Yes. So, I saw Arteta's head I could see the wheels turning in his head, trying to decide what to do, starting from the game against Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest lost 5-0 today in their friendly game, and I saw their update on Facebook, and fans were saying, you guys better be ready, you're facing Arsenal first. So, but the league starts next week. We're really looking forward to it. And, preseason has been mixed. I think a couple of draws, a couple of wins, and one loss. It is what it is. We hope to be ready, if not for this Jesus story that we're hearing today.
Yeah.
So I'll let you guys continue.
So Richard, before we go to the next topic, so what's your take about the other two new signings, Julian Timber and Rice?
I think Timber has been the most impressive of the three signings, but like I said, Rice, you can tell that he'll get there. It's just it's a new environment for him. I mean that he's not the leader, as it were. He so obviously was at West Ham. So I mean, it's that too is going to take some getting used to.
Yeah,
any new environment you find yourself in, you're not going to sort of, just
impose yourself like that.
Yourself immediately, So, but he, like I said, he hasn't done badly in the two matches he's played. So, and hopefully there's more to come. I think it would have been better for us if, considering how long the discussion of his transfer went on for, it would have been more beneficial if maybe they bought him earlier in the window. At least they didn't leave it to the last minute. But like I said, considering how long they've been talking about this transfer, it probably would have been better if they had brought him, if they had completed the deal much, much earlier in the window. Then he would have been able to go on holiday, come back, have a full, he hasn't had a full preseason with the team. I mean, he came back, I think it was the second week after everybody had returned.
Yeah, I think I agree with you guys. For me, during Timber, of course, has been the most impressive, like you rightly said, Richard. Declan Rice, because of the position he's playing, is a more it's going to be a more difficult and more based on the way Arsenal plays. It's a very, very important role that he's going to be playing for Arsenal. So it's going to take him a little bit of time to settle into it. But in this game, for me, he started the game in a very conservative manner. But as the game progressed, he became more comfortable and showed more of the natural way Declan Rice plays. And that almost gave, he almost got a goal, playing that way. So I don't think there's any of the signings that I'm disappointed with so far. And it's just a matter of time. We'll see as the season progresses. So, guys, in the viewers' comment, let us know what you think about the three signings for Arsenal. Having watched them throughout the preseason, let's know what you think about performance so far. What's your expectation about them? And do you think they're going to really help Arsenal push on based on how we ended the season last year? A lot of people blame it on squad depth. Now, I've added these three players. A lot of people are of the opinion that these three players are going to push Arsenal, make Arsenal better. So let's know what you think about them. Is there any of them you're disappointed with? And who amongst them has impressed you the most throughout the preseason? So, guys, there's one player that, for me, I think won the preseason, if there's anything like that in the sport, which is Leandro Trossard. This guy last season came in January and ended the season with 11 assists or something like that. He scored some goals, got so many assists, even though he didn't start plenty of the games that we played while he was here last season. This preseason, he has continued with the same. This guy, in some facets of the game, reminds me of Santi Cazorla, his ability to keep the ball and maneuver tight spaces. Then on the other hand, he looks like a Robin Van Persie, the way he takes his chances. Then he off the ball, he works so hard like Alexis Sanchez. If you want to use all these, bring these players in. So I don't know what have you guys made about Trossard, his performance. Do you think he's making a case to start the season as probably in contention for starting 11? based on how he has performed so far. Icha, what's your take?
Well, yeah, he's been impressive, but who will he displace? I mean, the person that he'd start if he was going to start, the person he'd probably replace is Martinelli.
No,
There's nowhere else.
Tata has used him in the midfield a lot of times this summer. Based on what the Rice has done, if you want to remove commercial and fan reaction, I think Trossard has done enough to replace the Rice in that 8th position. That's Trossard, Odegaard, and Partey. But again,
I don't think. Okay, good.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll just.
No, I don't. Okay, I don't think Trossard gives you as much defensively. And we had this discussion about how easy it's been for teams, like even today, for Monaco to walk through
midfield.
If you have Trossard in that midfield, I mean, good as he is, hardworking as he is, he's not the most fearsome tackler in the world. So I don't think he's an offensive. For me, he's an offensive. He will always be stronger going forward than he is defensively. And like I said, I think the only space, well, it's not the only space, but the place where he would most obviously fit in is on the left-hand side. I mean, Arteta is not going to replace Saka with Trossard. So, but to answer your question, yes, he's done enough to warrant a place in the starting 11, undoubtedly. But there's just no space for him. I mean, he will probably continue the way he was last season, and he doesn't seem to be put out by the fact that he's not starting. I mean, I think he realizes that he has an important position in the squad, and he's valued very highly by the coach. So I don't think. Yes, and it goes back to what we were saying about the strongest teams nowadays. They have 17 or 18 players. The fact that you don't start is not a reflection on how important you are to the squad.
Yeah, so Ogun, what's your take on Trossard, his performance through the preseason, and what do you think Arteta should do with him, going into the season?
The way I will summarize it is, if the season were to start this Saturday, my front line will be Trossard on the left, Jesus in the middle, and Saka on the right. Trossard, to me, has played himself into the team at the expense of Martinelli. Now, it's important to keep competition alive in the team, despite what we witnessed last season with Martinelli. I think today's game, Martinelli was a mess. Based on current form and what we've seen in preseason, I'd play Trossard ahead of Martinelli. But Martinelli is going to get a lifeline because Jesus is injured. So I'll definitely play Trossard instead of Nketiah in the middle. I think he can play in the middle very, very well. And be that decoy that Jesus would normally be. He would take his chances and he will make chances for both Saka and Martinelli. So that's really, the biggest credit I'll give him. He has played himself into the team as far as I'm concerned. Another honorable mention would be to this player that divides opinion, Fabio Vieira. I think Vieira has been really good this preseason. He was very good today. Yes, he missed a penalty previously. He redeemed himself by scoring one today. But I think he really has done well this preseason. My battery will go off in a second.
Wow.
Okay.
And yeah, I agree with you to an extent. But the only thing I disagree with you is on Eddie and Trossard. Eddie Nketiah, yeah, like I said, Richard earlier on, he's never going to hit the ceiling for any Arsenal fan. But we all crying and begging for a striker that has presence. In terms of that, I think, regardless of how good Trossard has been, Eddie Nketiah has more presence in that position than Trossard. And if we say even with Jesus we lack that, then why would you go further to play Trossard in that position ahead of Eddie? I think Eddie, I'm not the best of his fans, but I think he should be given a chance again, just like we did when Jesus was was injured. I think we should give him a chance as well to.
I don't know if you noticed also, Reggie, that physically he's a lot stronger.
Yes.
Eddie Nketiah.
Yes.
Actually, he's bulked up
Yes.
considerably, since last season.
Yes, I think you should be given a chance to start in that position, Then maybe second half, or if anything happens that it doesn't work, you can now bring in Trossard. Okay, so let's I don't know, did we talk about Wenger? You know that Wenger was in the stadium?
Yes, we saw him at the beginning of the match. And,
yeah.
The whole idea of Monaco now was to honor him. The fact that that's why Monaco...
Teams.
Yes, yeah. So in the light of the statue and everything, he came to inspect the statue before the match, and there was a presentation.
I was very glad to see him. In fact, I'm so happy that the club has finally, whatever, because I know they didn't tell us that, but it was obvious that he wasn't happy the way it turned out before he left. So I'm sure that I'm very happy that has been resolved now. And I remember one of his interviews recently. I said I was going to try to see as many games as possible going forward. Now that he has started coming already, So guys, in the view, he said,
I think this is the second time that he's been in.
Yes, he was there toward the end of last season. Yeah,
he was at the West Ham match, the West Ham home match last season.
Yeah,
and that was the first time he'd been back
since
to the Emirate.
Yeah, for 4 years.
Unbelievable when you look at how Ferguson is at every home match. Even though he said when he left, he said he wasn't going to come back because he didn't want to overshadow whoever succeeded him, but he couldn't stay away.
Wenger always maintained that he wanted to stay away to allow the new guys to settle. He doesn't want to be so. I think though more of it was more diplomatic than true. We now know that it wasn't. Something was wrong somewhere. Arteta, credit to him, has managed to resolve that, and I think everybody is pulling in the same direction, right? Which is very, very good. So, guys, in the comment section, let's know what you think about Leandro Trossard, the 3 signings that we have made, and Wenger's appearance at the stadium today in the game. And this is like Richard said, this is the second time we're seeing him at the Emirates Stadium since he left. So we hope that we see him more in our home games, going forward. Udum touched on it after the game in Arteta's press conference. He cleared the air about the reason why Jesus was not playing today. He had, according to Arteta, he had a little discomfort in his knee. He's been there for the past few weeks. So eventually he decided to go do a surgery on it, which was done this morning. So he says he's going to be away for a few weeks. For me, I would say for 1 month. That means he's going to miss our first 3 or 4 games. What do you think Arsenal should do, with regards to missing Jesus for the next few weeks?
Well, we had this discussion in the last episode. I mean, I believe we need a striker. So, I mean, it doesn't change anything. It just emphasizes it, if anything. So, we needed a striker anyway. We need a striker even more so now. In fact, if this could actually be taken as a sign that's basically, something
we should do this before we go to the season. It's better it happened now than it had happened. It had happened. The Tafavigo was shot.
Yes.
Okay, so let me ask you now. If you are in the Arteta's shoes, forget. Let's not talk as fans, because if you say, if I ask this person as a fan, you're going to mention some big names. But obviously, we know about financial fair play. Arsenal has spent a large chunk of their transfer budget already. So which makes it difficult for us to probably go for any big player right now. And it looks like already Arteta has made up his mind on Balogun. Another thing would have been to make a U-turn on Balogun and ask him to stay and not buy a striker. But apparently he's leaving. So who do we go to? Because now we need to sell players. Most of the players that we have for sale don't look like they're going to fetch us a lot of money. So if you are in the Arteta's shoes, how do you resolve this problem? Which player do you think Arsenal should be going for?
It's That's a difficult question. You know, like I said before in the last episode, even though he's banned and everything, so it doesn't really arise. He can't come in as a replacement.
Yeah,
But
exactly. Ivan Tony.
Tony, yeah. Aside from Tony, if you're looking at maybe people that excelled in the Premier League last season and may be available, um, even maybe as a short-term solution. Um, this sounds really odd and everything. Couldn't they look for somebody like Jamie Vardy?
Okay. Yeah, you can get him on a loan or 1 year contract.
Yeah, and I mean he'd be willing to come because what's he doing? I mean
Exactly.
he's playing in the championship, right? So I mean that could be an option. You know, I mean he's a goal scorer. I mean, I agree he's not the player he was even 3 or 4 years ago, but
Yeah, but he still has the presence.
and he still has the pace. Amazingly, at age 30, I think he's going to be 36 this year.
Yeah.
So I mean, that could be a short-term option. You know, although having said that, we don't even know how long Jesus. They've said 3-4 weeks, but you know that the knee. You know, they can say
Exactly. You never know. Yeah. For me, there are different ways to solve that problem. Like I said, we have to recognize the fact that Arsenal has spent a lot this summer already, and we'll have to depend on who goes to be able to buy any reasonable buy. One option is Vlahovic. I don't think it's going to be too very expensive. And Juve is looking for a striker. You could probably ship Balogun there and get Vlahovic with some cash and bring him in. That could, for me, that could be an option. Another option could be to look inwards. I was listening to someone talking about striking position for Arsenal a few days ago. They were saying something like Arsenal was not going to go for any striker this season. They are going to go big on that position next summer. So if that's true, you can as well, we're talking about Trossard, you can as well play Martinelli there and play Trossard on the left, or play Trossard as a false nine and play Martinelli and wait for Jesus to come back. So for me, these are the different ways to take care of that problem, because out there's really unless I'm going to buy a player that nobody knows, he might have the potential, it might be good enough, but of course, you know how it goes now. If you don't have a name, everybody would kind of not feel that you can do a job. So that's for me how Arsenal should go about that problem. Go for Vlahovic. If I think he's available, I think Juve is ready to sell. And Juve are also looking for a striker. We're talking about a swap deal between Chelsea and Juve. Vlahovic goes to Chelsea, Inter Milan, and Lukaku goes to Juve with some cash. Arsenal can as well go into that deal and say, okay, take Balogun and we give you 20, 30 or 40 million and take Vlahovic. And that solves the problem, not just now, but in the long term as well. So that's how, for me, I might want to try to reconcile or solve that problem. So, guys, let us know what you would do if you were to Nketiah shoes with regards to Jesus' injury. I think for the game today, that's that for now. I don't know. And the last question I will ask you is, where are you in terms of Arsenal readiness going to the new season? How do you feel? Do you think the team is ready? Do you think the season is? Are you optimistic? Going to next season.
I'm optimistic, but I don't think the preseason could have gone better. After results wise, obviously. I mean, remember last season's preseason where we won every match. Well, we'll see how what happens on Sunday, but the preseason could have been better. I'll be happier if the result on Sunday is 2-0 to us.
It's very possible. Arsenal and United have the best. I think they have the best records at what's the name of the Wembley. I don't know if that's where they're playing that game. I don't know if it's at Wembley. Arsenal Yeah, we hardly lose games at Wembley. In the last 3-4 years, I think we have won 2 titles. One against Liverpool, one against I think City.
Yes, yes.
So it wouldn't surprise me if we win City. So it's not something that it's going to like be like, how did it happen? No, if we win City, as a matter of fact, in cup games, I think Arteta has always done well against City, Liverpool, and Chelsea in cup games. So yeah, in terms of the team being ready, my confidence is more of what we did last season. Apart from Xhaka, all the players that we are the core of that performance last season are still in the team. And I think what I try to use this season to do is to integrate the new ones. So obviously or probably in training behind the scenes, they train the way the old guys know how to train, how we play. They already know how we play. So it's not going to be a big deal. It's just adding some different dimension to the game and try to integrate the new one. So I'm confident about going into the season. Of course, nobody can sit down here and make a call on the season. It depends. It's still until it starts. We're not going to say, hey, this is how it's going to be. But I know that a lot of opposing fans are calling it flash in the pan. It was a fluke. Next is going to be different. I hear all that, and I understand it. If I were in the shoes, I would say the same thing. But this Arteta that I'm saying, the mentality that he has, and the way he has built these players, and the way he's carefully taking players out of the group, tells you that there is something about the group, the unit. So I don't think there's going to be anything different from what we saw last season. The only difference is that teams are going to take Arsenal a little bit more serious this year. So they better, get ready for it. Everybody, just like the way everybody wants to beat City, that's the way it's going to be for Arsenal next season. Everybody understands this is how good you guys are, and they're going to come at you with, that kind of conviction. So that's how I see it. And guys, before we go, like I said, let's know your opinion. What do you think about Arsenal going to the season? Are you confident that Arsenal is going to do well next season? Are they going to have one gear more from where they stopped last season, or do you think last season was a fluke, or they're going to just be where they are? You see City as favorites going to next season as usual, or do you think Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United are going to put it in pressure? Since they have lost a few of their team or their players. So guys, that's our reaction for the game. We look forward to the title sheet on Sunday, and after that, of course, we'll come back to here and look at the teams and the season, going to the season. We'll try to bring fans from other clubs to preview this season, and we'll take it off from there. And bye for now. Thank you, Richard, for coming to the show. I look forward to seeing you again by weekend, in the title sheet game. Yeah, thank you, bro. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah,
bye everybody.